hot and cold men, people who act hot and cold, especially men, blind you from reality. Um, because when somebody's acting hot and cold, what they're doing is that they're making you emotional, and the reason why they're making you emotional is because you cannot predict them. What you cannot predict naturally makes you more emotional. How? Because if you give a rat a reward for every time they do something, if you consistently give them that reward, they're gonna become acclimated and not as rash and not as emotional. You're gonna notice that the brain doesn't fire off dopamine because it's predictable. But if you give a rat a reward once out of every 2 or 3 or 4 times he does something, then when he gets a reward, he's gonna get more dopamine, which is gonna feel better, which in other words is gonna make him more emotional. Hot and cold people give you that gambling effect where you don't know whether or not they're gonna be there. You don't know when the coldness is coming, you don't know when the warmth is coming. So you're constantly waiting. Cortisol levels are high. You're constantly waiting to get that release of cortisol to self-soothe, right? And so what's happening here is that you're becoming self-absorbed. You're not paying attention to the guy. You're not noticing how he's manipulating you. You're not noticing him changing. You're becoming self-absorbed essentially. Your rationality is your number one tool. Your number one tool to survive. Because for women, men's responsibility is to lie about their value, and women's responsibility is to be able to identify a false advertisement. But if you're so self-absorbed, always thinking about yourself, always feeling insecure, which is nothing wrong with that, but if you're constantly in that mode, you're going to miss out on signs of manipulation. Because you have to understand this: the Maslow hierarchy of needs makes you puts your physical security as the number one thing to focus on. If you don't feel safe, you're not going to think of other things. You're not going to think of higher matters, right? In the same light, if you feel insecure, you're not going to pay attention to people's nonverbals. You're not going to pay attention to somebody changing. You're not going to pay attention to the subtle things that reveal manipulation because you're insecure. And when you feel insecure, your number one thing is to remove that feeling of insecurity, right? So by turning inward at somebody also is an unconscious sign that you feel like they're high value. Naturally, if you make somebody feel insecure, if you make somebody feel like just insecure through hot and cold, they are unconsciously saying that you're high value because you only feel that kind of insecurity in the presence of somebody who's high value for the most part, right? So that's the first thing. Remember, is that tolerating hot and cold behavior will get you emotional, will make you irrational, will make you act out of character, and you pretty much shut yourself off from the world because you're trying to fix this issue from within. You're feeling turmoil and you don't like it, and so you stop reading people, you stop observing people, and that's your number one power, which is your empathy as a human. The second thing to remember, so what I'm trying to say is that you just lose your ability to empathize. I mean, essentially. The second thing to remember is emotions create impulsive patterns that cannot be controlled. And those emotions become predictable. The easiest types of people to control and manipulate and predict are emotional people. Emotional men and women, people who have high egos. You can easily predict their behaviors. So when somebody likes you, it makes no sense that they're randomly cold with you. It makes no sense. You gotta understand the logic behind liking somebody. It's a compulsion. It's like if you're addicted to weed, there's no such thing as hot and cold with weed. You're always gonna smoke. Like there's no such thing as we saying, oh, why is the Lexus being cold with me? Like, oh, yeah, no, motherfucker. There's no such thing as that. It's like when you smoke weed, you're consistently addicted to it, so you're gonna be consistent with it. You're not gonna be hot and cold. You get what I'm trying to say? So if somebody professes that they like you and they're acting hot and cold, listen to me. That makes no sense. It makes no logical sense. Remember, when you like somebody, it's an emotion that's so intense that you cannot control yourself. So you're gonna be predictable. You're gonna be predictable. Unless you watch my channel and you've learned your lesson through losing somebody, which is rare that people learn their lesson, the only logical explanation is that they don't like you that much. And that's how people act when they don't like somebody. When I don't like a girl, I'm inconsistent. People, that's just how it is. Stop trying to rationalize it. A hot and cold guy doesn't like you that much. And if he does like you, is that the type of love you want to have in your life? Somebody who's inconsistent? What kind of relationship you're trying to repair from your past? Oh, wait. Yes, most likely you're trying to repair a relationship you've had with somebody in your past who was hot and cold. That's why they're triggering you. 3, don't let oxytocin forgive and forget. Remember the coldness. They say more. In other words, oxytocin causes you to forget the things that people did to you that are negative. Think about you being a zebra and you're surrounded by other zebras. But around you guys is a pack of wolves waiting for you, or fucking lions waiting for you guys to split up. Let's just say one of your zebras bites you in the ass, and then your other zebra buddy kicks you, right? Are you gonna leave the zebra group? Of course not. You wanna know why? It doesn't matter how abusive they are. You feel like if you leave them, there's something worse out there for you. So the neurochemical that brings you back to the group is called oxytocin. Even though they're physically abusing you, even though they hurt you, you feel like the other alternative is worse than this. So you stay with them. So what oxytocin does is not that it tells you to stay with them and that the other thing is worse, so don't do that. No. That's not how the brain rationalizes those neurochemicals. Or not neurochemicals. Don't people, honestly, when I say this, I read these things in books that are verified. So it's kind of like, don't think that I'm trying to act like I know it all. You know what I'm saying? So when you feel those emotions, you don't say, the zebra doesn't say, oh, like, I'm not gonna go out there because the fucking lions are gonna kill me. No, what the zebra feels then what the zebra feels is an emotional desire to return to the group, even if they're abusing them. And we see that in relationships, we see that with friends, we see that with families, right? And so what oxytocin does is that it motivates you to forgive and forget. Because if you don't have that trait within you, what's going to happen is that in the past, one of your ancestors would have not forgiven, would have forgotten, been alone and gotten eaten, and you would have not been born. So the only ones that survived were the ones who had that trait, and that trait was passed on. So it's natural for you to forgive and forget. That's why I say you'd be surprised how much people forgive. You'd be surprised, right? But don't forgive and forget. Go away from that compulsion. There are some things you just cannot forgive and forget. And one of those things is consistently being cold, right? There's no excuse. And what they'll try to do is use words to help you feel good, is use words to help you forget about the shit they've done to you. No, never forget the things that people do to you, okay? If somebody's acting cold and then gives you a gift, if somebody smacks you and then gives you a gift the next day, fuck that gift. Remember the smack. It says more about them, right? Because again, you're gonna feel the compulsion to forget the what they did to you, especially if you're a nice person. And the last thing is this: leave anybody who's hot and cold. I'm sorry. This is not how people act when they like you. This is not how people act when they respect you. When somebody's hot and cold with you, this is not normal behavior. And if you think this is normal behavior, then you just had some bad experiences in your life. Then you just tolerated bad things. And that kind of stuff happens. It's understandable. We're only humans. We want to be loved. And so we forgive a lot. But unfortunately, time will always show you that, like, when people are hot and cold, you're always gonna see over time that it never works out. It just never works out. And it's not to be negative, it's not to be lazy, but it's just to save you time. It never works out. And when it does, that's like 1 in 100. Like, I'm honestly, like, hot and cold, tell them to go suck a dick. Tell them to choke on a dick. Because it's not gonna work out. I'm sorry. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys ever want to learn how to use your feminine energy to influence people, learn how to use your masculine energy to become more assertive, and also learn how to blend both energies to improve your dating life, your spiritual life, honestly, your relationship life, your family life, your career life. This is the course for you. If I had to make a course for my nieces, I have two nieces. One is 8, 19, and one is 14, 15. 16. Holy shit. Oh my God, he's a bad fucking uncle. He's a bad uncle. Get him. Shut up, Melissa. You should get this course, right? And this is the course that I will make for them. So, for example, watch the curriculum, right? In the first week, we're going to be showing you how to establish a strong masculine foundation without letting it hurt your feminine energy. This masculine foundation is a source of who you are, right? It's your bodyguard. Without this, whatever feminine energy you create will be destroyed by the outside, because your masculine is your shield. So we'll talk about goal setting. We'll talk about how to develop a serious attitude. We're going to be talking about how to use more logic, how to use more goal-oriented behavior. It's more how to be a man. Now the next one is how to embrace the feminine energy, right? This one would teach you about how to minimize excessive masculine traits, developing self-awareness, healing abundant feminine energy, regulating your emotion, mastering voice qualities and facial expressions, surrendering control, and allowing pain to be felt. This is honestly, this will supercharge, like Kaioken, your masculine energy. After that, we have femininity in the workplace, and how to be feminine in the workplace without letting people take advantage of you, and the nuances of how women on power should behave versus women who are subordinates in the workplace, and even the dress code. This is based on psychology, people. It's kind of insane. I'm actually excited about this one. The next week, we talk about navigating the labyrinth of male and female friendship, and this a lot of women find confusing, so we talk about that. And how to identify envious friends, how to identify the good friends, how to keep male friends, and how to keep female friends. Week 5, we talk about how to release the burden of the past and stop and destroy mental projections. This is actually really powerful. And then week 6, we talk about how to increase your observational power so that you could read people better. And we have a bunch of bonuses. The course starts at $99, and you guys can pre-order the course today at $69 before it goes out. If you're watching this, most likely I'm in the meditation retreat, so I will be praying for all of you guys. And just click on the description down below of the video. Right there, you'll see it, and you could pre-order that course. It's gonna be out by the end of next month or the beginning of February of March. One of the two, people, because I have a 10-day retreat to do, and I want to finish the course after the retreat, because I think the ideas are gonna be so much better. All right, man. I'll see you guys later. Pre-order, man. I'm closing the channel.